Asher and Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Day by day, something's slipping ever faster towards the dark.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here with our next guest. And it's pretty interesting because, you know, it's funny. I'm a motivational speaker, and I have never known this till I saw about this new song that we're going to talk about. That January is known as Blue Monday, characterized as the most depressing day of the year, which is today. And I hate that. I'll talk about that a little bit, but you talk about it in your song. So let's welcome to the show Brendan from the Nocturnal Affair. How are you?
How you doing, man? I'm doing well.
So, yeah, see, we learned something every day. I didn't even know that. Maybe because I'm a positive person and I hate focusing on the negative. So somebody probably said that to me and I probably ignored them.
Yeah, I tend to avoid that negativity. If anybody comes at me with anything like that, I'm like, treat it like poison, get it away. You know, unless the person needs help. But if they're just there to be negative, like, I'm like, nope, get it away from me.
And it's a different story when you're writing a song, because to me, music is the best therapy. So that is where you should let the darkness out sometimes, I believe, you know, and
I agree.
It's a little different than somebody like, oh, it's the third Monday of January. It's going to be a bad day. It's more like, you know, we do go through bad times. We do go through dark times. We go through depression. We go through anger, all kinds of things. Even the most positive of people. That's the biggest misconception about motivational speakers. Like, nobody's that positive all the time. Well, it's not a matter that you never have darkness. It's just how you deal with things is a little different. So,
it's choosing to see life a certain way. So you get ahead of it. You don't become a victim of life.
Exactly. But see, I love songs like this that like let people know that it's okay to have depression at times. It's okay to be angry at times. It's okay to have any kind of mental issue at times, you know, and It's okay to be able to share with other people. That's the message I get from deep, and that's deep.
Absolutely. Yeah, you should never feel like you can't reach out to somebody.
Yes, exactly. I think that's a thing, like in my generation, Gen X, we didn't really have anybody to reach out to, so we just dealt with shit. And I think that's what's good maybe nowadays is, you know, people realize that they don't have to do it alone and they don't have to keep it to themselves.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because the subject matter of deep, what surrounded me when I wrote it, how I was feeling, it wasn't unique to me. This wasn't something I was discovering for the first time on my own during the shutdown. Like, oh man, nobody understands. Like this, what I went through is something that a lot of people went through. I mean, probably in the millions, obviously. And a lot of people didn't make it out of that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's to this day, I am aware of people that were affected so badly during those times, and succumbed to a lot of depression that are still battling it now. Like the things that happened during the pandemic, it wasn't just the sickness that we talk about. There are other things. There are other mental battles that people fought, and they still have those scars. Those wounds are still open for a lot of people.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, first of all, I think one of the biggest problems of that period of time is the fact that we did not have an outlet. We did not have live music and we didn't have people. You know, two main things to me that help you get through the day, you know, and I think too, even myself, it's funny because, you know, I go on tour and I do music festivals all over the US, UK and Europe. And like a musician, that period of time really bluntly fucked with my head because I was so used to traveling and being on the road all the time and amongst my people and amongst the live music, which is the best therapy, you know, and then it's all gone. Now, what's interesting is, like, based on what you said, there is some after effect of it because then after we came back in the world, it's like every music festival was like, I'm like, okay, we got to make up for that time that was lost. And I went on like a 2 year, like not one break, you know, every single weekend it was another festival. And of course, since the pandemic, the 3 day festivals are now 4 day festivals plus a pre-party. So it's 5 days. So there's not even like time in between festivals.
Yeah.
And then last year, like I was nonstop from March until October. And when October hit this year, after I was done with the last festival, I think I've barely left, which is so unlike me. I've barely left my domain in the past couple months because it was like, I was like thinking to myself almost, oh, I missed that time that I wasn't allowed to do anything. Like
Isn't
it's
that
kind of
so funny how
weird.
the mind works? Isn't
It's
that so funny?
weird, right? You know,
we
it's
we get
like,
the strangest nostalgia for things that maybe we're lacking right now. That during the time of the pandemic, nobody would. I mean, sure, some people were having fun, but you didn't feel that way then.
no,
I'm sure
no,
at that time you were like, I need to get the fuck out of my house before I burn it down with myself in it.
no doubt. And like I live on the beach and it's a private beach and it was locked down. Like, are you kidding me? I can't even go on a private beach. Like, and that's like, you know, that's like solitude. That's like therapy. And I think everybody is still angry and pissed because of that time, which is why the whole world has all the bullshit going on right now, and especially here in the US with all the division and the attacking and arguing. I think it all stems from that time, to be honest. Our brain just got screwed up from that.
I completely agree because I mean I lived it. You know, I'm usually an extremely sociable person. I've always been called a social butterfly. I've never stayed with one particular social group growing up, whether it's metalheads, goths, people that listen to hip hop, rap, R&B, jazz. But like I can go to any type of show. I can talk to any type of person. I was a salesperson when I was much younger. I could sell you $300 worth of loose leaf tea on your trip to Vegas, and you'd walk out of that shop going, "What the hell did he just do to me?" But even during that time, you know, the first major thing that Nocturnal did towards the end of that shutdown was the Chris Jericho cruise, and I just I think it was the first cruise since the shutdown. So we all had to go get our tests, and
Yeah.
if you passed the two tests, you had to do a bunch of other things. And even though we were all safe, when we got on the ship, do you remember how eerie it was to be around a crowd when things
Oh,
opened back up?
oh yeah. Listen,
If
I'm like
somebody
you,
got this close to you, it was like, oh, you want to fight? Like, oh, don't get fucking close to me. Who are you? I don't know you. And I
right?
remember being on that ship and we play the show. People would be like, yes, amazing. They want to talk to you. But then you get in their business or they in your, and it's suddenly like two dogs with the hair standing up on their backs. Like, oh, I don't know what to fucking do with you. What is this?
Oh man, totally. Like same as you. I'm like a total extrovert. I'm in many social circles. It doesn't matter what it is. Like I'm just as happy in a mosh pit as I am a high society function. Like I can deal everywhere. And I remember the first show that I covered coming out of COVID was at the local. It was weird to me too because it was at the local amphitheater where our studios are and where I live. It's like a small town amphitheater, and it was uh, Dirty Heads and who the fuck else was it? Oh my god,
That's
Dirty Heads
awesome.
was it? Dirty Heads wasn't even the headliner. It
Wow.
was Dirty Heads and Sublime.
Oh
Sublime.
my God.
Okay, at this little amphitheater, like outside amphitheater for a local town. And I remember standing on stage, backstage, looking out at that crowd that I would normally, like when I cover festivals, sometimes I'll go up on stage, but most of the time I want to be out in the pit. I want
Yeah,
to
it
be
fires you
out in
up.
the crowd, you know.
Yeah.
And and I just looked out there. I was like, it looked like a petri dish to me. That's what I was imaging. Like if you were to do a cartoon, it was a
Yep.
petri dish. I'm like, I'm not fucking going out there.
That's yeah. I remember when everybody was in the clear, and everybody had been vaccinated a few times, and everybody was busy arguing about that. And I'd go out and I'd be in a crowded space, and that that mentality would kind of kick in again, like, oh, I'm too close to these people. And it kind of feels weird to breathe. It kind of feels like, oh, they keep touching me. Like you touch somebody, you knock something, you're like, I gotta go wash my hands. I was like, what the fuck happened to me? What
No
is
doubt.
this?
Even with like, even now, somebody coughs or sneezes, like the initial reaction is like stepping back.
Yeah, I see people look at people that cough or sneeze like they've just insulted your mother. You know what
Right.
I mean? Everybody in the room's like, how dare you have a human response to your nose itching?
I know,
It's
right?
crazy.
Oh my God.
So just imagine, I mean, imagine that effect it had on people that already went into the pandemic with a little bit of, mental illness, mental trouble,
Yeah.
and they just had nothing but themselves to deal with. And then the constant fear being thrown at you from television and radio and all sources. There's so many people that are still just suffering, and
Oh yeah.
I want them to know they're not alone.
And one of the things I take as a positive out of that lockdown for music specifically is that I think some of the best music we'll have in our lifetime came from that time. And I have a reason for that. And that is because we're locked down. You get a musician gets to jump off the hamster wheel that we were on for so long. And you get back to being creative because you're sitting there without having to write a song from one one tour stop to another without deadlines, and you just could go back to being an artist. I think a
Yeah,
lot of artists lost that, and hopefully they keep it going now and didn't just go back right in. But I think your song is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, and it does speak to that whole scenario of dealing with these things. And I'm sure you wouldn't have written stuff like this had you still been on the hamster wheel.
no, no, I wouldn't. I still would have been a very angry person. I was very angry going into the pandemic. Um, I had I'd experienced a divorce years
Mm,
before that I had done nothing but run from for about 3 years and just try to cover up with alcohol and hookups. And I was a menace. And then we hit the pandemic, and I had to face that guy, and it
yeah,
was dark as fuck, man. It was dark as fuck. But while in the pandemic, while in the shut, I started therapy. I started working out because I was a slob. I started eating right. I started really focusing on what can I do to change my life to be the man that I want to be impressed by. So yeah, it's in a weird way. If it wasn't for the pandemic, God knows what path I would be on right now. Like
well, yeah. And you know what's interesting about what you said is the guy you want to be, and I think we have so many people buzzing in our head that period of time is what allowed that to happen, because probably before that you were being the guy everybody else wanted you to be.
yeah,
And that's frustrating. And you don't
oh,
really
it's
realize
infuriating.
it till you're by yourself like that, and you start to reflect and realize that, you know what? You have to be you, because
Yes,
at the end of the day, that's the only person you have to answer to,
ain't that the truth?
right?
So I mean, it really is. that just brought back a ton of memories I didn't realize I still had. But
Yeah, see, look at that. You
yeah,
know?
wow.
And that's why this song is so important. Because and I love that you did what I always advise people to do. You made the song one word, the title of the song, instead of an explanation, because that word explains it all. You know?
Yeah, it's just it. When I wrote the song, I felt like I was drowning on the deep end. And
Yeah.
to be honest, it's hard for me to listen to. I've seen a music video multiple times because that's when the team sends it over. They're like, "This is our edits. This is what we've done." And I love the ideas that my management, Mark and Rick, have put into this. But even now, I have to mute it because if I don't, I hear that and I hear what the emotion of my voice, and I start going back to that time. I don't know how a lot of musicians work differently, but when I hear music that I wrote in times like that, it's almost like you relive it in your head
Yeah.
when you're performing it. I have no idea how I'm going to do the damn thing live without breaking down. I have no clue.
But you
This
know
is
what?
this
Maybe
is
you
one of those
should
things
break
where,
down.
yeah, we were in the studio and I had to like give myself a break, get back in the game, because I'm one of those, like, if I get emotional and I'm singing, a lot of people can cry through their singing. I can't. I get like, so I'm like, I need to be like, I don't know where I'm gonna have to go, but I'm gonna have to go somewhere when we play this on stage, or else it's gonna wreck me. I'm gonna break down.
You know, the way I look at it though is like I said, music's the best therapy, and the best songs are when people can relate, and they can relate when they see that you really are living that song,
Every
and you're
time.
not faking it, and then they're like, oh, I think that makes the difference, opposed to, like pop artists write songs, do they
Yeah.
have any connection to it? It's like, it's funny. You take somebody like, as an example, Carrie Underwood. She's a total metalhead. And I think to myself, how the hell are you a metalhead and sing other music? And there's plenty like that. Christina Aguilera, another example of a metalhead. I'm
Billie
thinking,
Eilish. I mean, straight up wearing typo negative shirts on stage.
right? You
Love
know,
that. A lot of
and
people were like, "What the hell?" I was like, "That's awesome."
exactly. And the fact is, it is that, you know, what's great about metal is it is true to what it is, and whoever's writing metal music is writing the real deal opposed to something to appeal to themselves, not to everybody else. And I think that's the difference between a really good metal song and a not good metal song. Is a metal song is something you write for yourself, not for the rest of the world, and not to become a rock star or any of that stuff.
It's
And
very
there you
true.
go.
It's
And
very
there
true.
and there you go. And there's the proof right there. That
Yeah.
silence is the proof
Yeah.
right there. You
Oh yeah.
know,
That's the second time you did that to me today.
I know
You
I'm
get
pretty
me
good
thinking. I like go off on this, like, yeah, man.
pretty good at that, right? But that's what we want people to do that are hearing this song too, to think and to relate. Because isn't that what being an artist is? We write stuff for ourselves, but then people put their own meanings to it. The best artists, to me, don't get pissed off when somebody puts a different meaning to it. Like, because your meaning and my meaning could be totally different, but it's still the meaning
Well,
is
yeah.
mine.
Look at Hurt.
Yeah,
Nine Inch Nails. It's one of their best songs of all time, and then Johnny Cash turned it into one of his best songs released of all time
totally.
for his meaning, his video alone, singing while June Carter is just looking at him while he's like going over the things he's done in his life. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what else is insane that you brought that up? Is I can't tell you how many people think J- Nine Inch Nails covered Johnny Cash in that song.
He did
That's
that good.
that
Could you
that
imagine?
that is the way to make a cover song right there.
Could you could you imagine how Trent must feel? Like, could you imagine writing a song that gains success, but then somebody from the past who's somebody at that level goes, I would like to use that, sir. And they do
Right?
so well, everybody thinks it's theirs. Somebody thinks your song is theirs. That's insane.
That is a total trip. Yeah. You know who else is a perfect example of that is Metallica. Like some of
Yep.
their biggest songs aren't even theirs. Like the you
With
know,
one of my favorite covers they do is Whiskey in the Jar.
there you go. And
So great.
that's a great one. Turn the Page, they do great.
Oh,
Uh
dude.
and
Die
then
Die My Darling.
uh, unbelievable. And then
Yep.
all the Diamond Head and Budgie songs. Like
Yep.
most people wouldn't even know who those bands are without Metallica doing those
I heard
songs.
I heard their version of Stone Cold Crazy before Queen's.
That's funny.
And then I think it was either my sister or someone else was like, "Yeah, this is a lot more heavy than how Queen did it." And I went, "Well, like the We Are the Champions guys?" I had been a kid at the time. I'm like, "You mean the We Will Rock You or whatever it is?" The what?
Right?
Yeah.
And that's when it's respectable, in my opinion, to do a cover anyway, where people you put your own spin on it. You can't do it better than the original artist if you do it the same way the original artist did it.
Yeah.
And I think that holds true for Hurt. Johnny is Johnny. Like he's not going to be an industrial dude, you know. So he put his spin on it, and it is badass. I love both versions, to be honest.
Yeah. I love a good cover. I mean, obviously we've done a few, so it's because I just can't like, dude. I had that version of "It's No Good" by Depeche Mode. It was just playing around in my head for years, and we finally did a demo of it. And my team was like, "That's a single," and I went, "That song's not ours." And they were like, "No, it's cool. Just drop it as a cover." I was like, "I don't know, man. Like that's pretty bold, but I don't want to piss anybody out. Like that's or maybe I do want to piss people out, but not for that reason." And
Right?
it worked. It worked. But a lot of people in America don't know that it's Depeche Mode, so they'll just tell us they like that song. But then the moment we landed in the UK, of course, everyone was like, "Holy fuck!" Of all the Depeche Mode songs, that one.
Right? And I think there is a benefit to crossing genres as far as covers go. Because look
Yeah.
at some of the best punk songs were covers for sure, but nobody would know because it was made so punk. And you take like the Beatles. The freaking Beatles took so many songs that were covers, and people probably think they're all Beatles songs.
Oh yeah. Sinatra did the same. Dean Martin, all the old crooners. You know what I mean? It's like a good song's a good song. Elvis, one
Yeah,
of his most famous songs of all time is Unchained Melody, and that's not even his song.
right. Exactly. So I love it. But I love deep. And that's what's important. And I know
Thank you.
you got a lot more coming out this year. You're going to be
Got a
very,
few.
very busy.
Yeah, maybe a couple.
So people have to, check you out if they haven't already and be on the watch out. How do they connect to you guys on socials, on the web? Check out the new music, but also be informed of everything that's coming down the pike in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to see the Deep video, and it's the trilogy it belongs to because it actually started with "Cross Me Out." That music video leads into our single "Benefit of Doubt." And then that music video leads into Deep. The songs themselves have no connection, somewhat. Although "Cross Me Out" and "Benefit of Doubt" are semi-connected subject-wise, but I'll talk about that another time. But the videos themselves were created as a trilogy by management, and I kind of was just like, "Take the reins. You've got an idea. Let's go." Mark was kind of like, "Yo, I've got this idea. I don't want to delve into it too much. I just want to do it. I need you to trust me. We're using some new style technology to film it, and I can't tell you what it is, but I can promise you 3 crazy videos. Like, let's go have fun." And I was like, "Let's do it." So,
Nice.
and then even my other manager, Rick, had some hands in Deep and the stylings of it, how it looked, how it felt, and those guys just blew me away with it. I never would have imagined, um, what they would have done with that, with the music and the visuals. So
I
very happy
love it.
with it.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Oh,
And
and they
so,
can connect with me via, I would say, Instagram, TikTok. Our website, Nocturnal Affair, has all the links, but the Nocturnal Affair on Instagram, the Nocturnal Affair on TikTok. Subscribe to our YouTube page. It's probably the best way.
so I have a question for you. Okay, did you start your TikTok during the pandemic or after?
Um, I believe before even the pandemic, I think I just saved the page and we didn't do anything on it until a couple years ago. And
Because
I
I was
think we're still trying to figure out, the best way to approach TikTok because what's hot on TikTok sometimes doesn't, connect with an up and coming rock band.
right,
It's more, trying to figure out the right way to fit um, genuine artistry with maybe a teenager doing a dance in front of a mirror. You know what I mean? It's like I don't think about kids dancing in front of cameras when I write my songs.
right.
So um, it's hard to sometimes relate to that. And this is by no means like a get off my lawn kind of thing because I love TikTok. I find a lot of funny content on TikTok. I find a lot of really cool nerdy shit on TikTok. A lot of great horror shit, like like classic horror movies. TikTok is like one of my favorites. Um, I'm following a lot on like the Vampire Lestat series coming up. There's a bunch of TikTok stuff on that, but it's trying to figure out how to fit into that world is so funny. And then I can go and post a video of my bassist snoring on tour to some funny music on Instagram and it gets 2 million hits.
Listen, you're preaching, man.
Like,
It is true. So my daughter and her husband, who was boyfriend at the time, they started a TikTok way back, and basically my daughter and her husband at the time especially were the only people of their generation that really did not understand social media nor give a shit about it.
yeah.
And so my son-in-law, he's like big into Rubik's cubes, okay? And he ain't a kid. Like he's a Marine. He's out of the Marines now, but I laugh like he was a Marine. He was in the Marines. He's a Marine, and he's playing with Rubik's cube. But they did this. They started TikTok. Like these are people that didn't do Instagram, didn't do anything, didn't really know. Started TikTok, and all he was doing was solving Rubik's cubes on this TikTok. And in a month, he got 160,000 followers. And I'm like, what the fuck?
That's amazing though. That's
It is.
amazing.
It
A
is.
lot of people get so mad, but it's like I can only like fuck yeah, you figured it out.
I don't
Um,
even think they figured it out. It
it just
just
happened.
happened, and that's the thing. So I like to ask people. The reason I asked you what I did is I like to ask because I think a lot of people did TikToks during the pandemic, and they're very embarrassed about some of the ones they did then. So I'd like to ask, what's your most embarrassing TikTok?
Ooh, I don't think I have one yet, but now
Nice.
I've got a goal for next year.
I know, right? That's what'll make you go
Um,
viral. It's the embarrassing shit that'll make you go
Embarrassing.
viral.
Actually, hold on. I do have an embarrassing TikTok, but I don't think it's up anymore. I think I took it down. Um, we were still up and coming, like more so when it happened. It was before we got on any charts, or we'd only been on a few tours, and it was when touring had started shortly after the shutdown. So I want to say it was maybe spring of 2022, and we were in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and somehow somebody filmed a moment where I fell off stage for the first time. It's on
Ooh.
film, and and I didn't fall off stage gracefully too. The way I fell off, A, was embarrassing. B, it hurt, but the way I hurt myself saved the rest of me from breaking any bones. I was standing on one of those like bass speakers that they'll put at the front of the stage that, you know,
Yeah.
musicians will always stand on.
Yeah.
And I didn't have my glasses on and I didn't have my contacts that day. And I took a step. And when I took a step, there was no stage next to me in the
Ugh.
middle of our song, 1,000 Ways to Die.
Wow.
And we had to have been 4 to 6 feet off the ground. And so the way I was standing was I took a step off and I fell off the stage foot first. So let me tell you something. I hit my nuts on the way down pretty
Yeah,
hard. I
I already felt that when you said what you
so
just said.
if I didn't, I would have fallen off the stage and my whole body would have hit the concrete and I probably would have broken some bones, maybe hit my head. But because I hit my my nuts on the fucking bass cabinet, whatever speaker, it made my leg that fell straighten out like a fucking cartoon character getting electrocuted because I was like, ah! And the leg straightening out caught me on the ground and I like rolled and I was fine.
Nice.
I like maybe had a bruise and my nuts hurt for a second, but thankfully there was no major damage to anything. Somebody got a video of it and sent it to us, and then it got out. And then people were sending me memes of like, you know, there's like Straight Outta Compton. It was like straight out of stage floor, and it's like me like falling. And we had that on TikTok for a minute, but the internet is not nice.
No.
So what turned into maybe a funny like, hey, here's what we've done. You know, everybody's done it. I've seen tons of musicians fall off the stage, and you kind of become part of the club once that happens. Like, okay, now you're really doing this for real. Even after the show, Chris Jericho, kind of like, because we were touring with Fozzy, he like pat me on the back and he's like, now you're a real touring musician. Like now you can join the rest of the greats because they've all fallen off the stage.
See, I thought he would have said that was a good wrestling move.
So yeah, Chris was always so cool to tour with. And so after a while, like, and I mean years after, like, you know, 23, 24, people were still finding that TikTok and just saying like the meanest shit. And I was like, all right, like, come on, guys. I can joke about it, but seriously, like, where do you get the time to say this shit?
That's where TikTok has gone downhill, in my opinion, because during the pandemic, it was like all the assholes that you would have on Facebook and everywhere else weren't on TikTok. And TikTok was just this fun, great thing. And now even TikTok's taking itself too seriously. And it's like people are on there and it's not fun anymore. And the hate and I just.
What I found is people are especially fast to either be the devil's advocate, to be very cynical, just to be cynical. But also it's the passive aggressiveness.
Yeah.
The way they can disagree and then say, but whatever, or like the way they turn their comments into this passive aggression that can stab you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you respond, they're like, hey, chill, dude. Like, it's not even a thing. Don't make a big deal about it. Like, that's like a whole culture right now. It's weird. People can't just say things.
To me, the internet and social media has only increased mental illness. You know,
I could see there's an argument in there. Absolutely. I think when, not used wisely, to be honest, I think all public schools should start teaching classes to kids whose brains are developing on how to address the internet. Because, you know, when I was a kid, we barely had laptops, right?
Right.
And like that wasn't even a thing that we went on all the time unless we wanted to game. But like we weren't heavily tied to computers in the way that this generation is. And so I think there should be some type of way to prepare children mentally to all of the information that they're going to see that maybe they shouldn't see, that will stop maybe some poor forms of development. And whether it's so socially, emotionally, mentally.
Yeah. And it's so easy to cyberbully people. Like, you go to school with that before the internet, and there were bullies, but there were limitations. Now,
because you had to see them in school on Monday. You know.
Yeah.
Now it could be anybody with an anonymous account.
Oh, it's terrible. I say social media is antisocial. Like it's the antithesis of being social, but it is a necessary evil. And I love your idea because yeah, people need to be educated on etiquette too on
Yes.
social media. Just because you can hide behind a screen and be a dickhead doesn't mean you should. Is kind
Yeah,
of
I mean,
what I
there
think.
should be classes for that. I think there should be assistance for parents that are allowing their kids to have a telephone. Like, dude, a cell phone at the age of 10 with access to fucking everything in the world. Like, are you kidding me? They can see anything.
The
They
shit
can
my
see, and they
grandkids
are
pull up.
seeing everything. What?
Yeah, the shit my grandkids pull up on YouTube,
Yeah.
like when their parents, because their parents can't monitor everything. Like it's like, oh my god, what are these kids being exposed to? Like you can put all the parent controls you want on, not I don't mean the parent themselves, I mean on the app. My grandson can figure out how to hack around that stuff no problem. And we're not
Yep.
even talking techie. It's like they've grown up with it, so they know their way around it.
Oh
And
yeah. There was a short time a while ago. I was dating somebody with young kids, and the kid was getting in trouble for the way he was addressing Chat GPT and like the information Chat GPT was giving to him.
wow.
Like it was extremely inappropriate things for somebody his age. And the mom didn't know what to do. She was like, I don't even know, because he's got to have his phone to get a hold of me. He's got to be able to do this. It's got to be. But it was just like, it was a whole thing. And I was like, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine just like,
But
how do you
how
solve
did
that?
and then that attitude you just had there, which is the society we live in, listen, I grew up being able to get a hold of my parents and I didn't have a cell phone nor
Exactly.
nor internet or any of that stuff. You
I was
know,
the
and
every kid around me had one of those. You remember those flip up phones where it flipped up and you had a keyboard, and then they'd flip it back down, or the razors, or everything. I went through the entirety of high school without a cell phone. All of my
my
friends had cell phones, and my mom had every single one of their numbers, so she knew who to like. All right, Aaron didn't answer. Let me call Tony. Tony didn't answer. Let me call somebody else. And then finally, is Brennan with you? Put him on the phone, and that was normal. That wasn't like, ugh, mom, how many kids have you called? Like it was like, oh hey, yeah, no, I'm over here.
yeah, there you go. And it's funny too because I remember it was 1991. I was buying a brand new car, and they had this deal. You got a free phone if you bought the car, but you had a choice. And so they asked me, "Do you want a mobile phone?" And it was that brick stupid shit, or do you want a car phone? I'm like, I want a car phone so I could be like James Bond. Well, I need a mobile phone for. I'm not going to use that now.
Yeah,
I'm just as addicted to my mobile phone now as anybody is. But
of
at that
course.
time, that was my mindset. It was like, what do I want the mobile phone for? That's stupid. I want the car phone so I could be cool. It wasn't even about being able to call people. It was just about, hey, I'm like James Bond. I have a car phone.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and I remember too with my kids, I tried to keep them off of cell phones. And then there just came a point where I was dropping one of my kids off at school. I remember it so clearly. And I saw all the kids outside being dropped off all on their cell phone. And I felt, oh shit, now I do have to let them use a cell phone because everybody has it. And like, because what are you gonna do? Make your kid be the only one that doesn't have a phone? You know,
Yeah, that was my parents. They were. I
right?
was like, dude, everybody's got one, and we're gonna go to the. How can I get a hold of you? And my mom was like, you know our phone number. You got quarters for a payphone. Like you're fine.
Right? Exactly.
Which I'm actually grateful for. Like I got to. I just lived life. Like we just did kid shit. You know what I mean? Got into trouble. Went to the mall. Got in trouble there. You know what I mean? Did whatever fucking teenagers did. And
I'm very happy about the fact that, I was very involved in the Sunset Strip days of the 80s, and nobody
Nice.
has any proof of it.
Yeah, you know what? I gotta say, even though I didn't have a phone, a lot of my friends had cell phones with the beginning parts of cameras. There's so many just photos of me out there, all gothed out at the mall, in front of Hot Topic with trip pants and lip service straight jackets, and I got makeup on and shit. It's a different time, different
I know,
time.
right? I know. Oh my God. It is interesting. Like, I go to these festivals and see all these people watching the festivals through their phone, and I'm thinking to myself, I think back, and I'm like, now when I go into a mosh pit, I have to like hand my phone to somebody before I go in. And I do think to myself, I'm like, I didn't have to worry about that shit. I just went into the pit. Like, you didn't worry
Yep,
about, oh, I better not bring my phone in the pit, or let me get a picture of this. Let me, like, you know,
yep.
you
But now too, it's like
participate.
if you hand your phone to your friend to go do something real quick, do you get that anxiety of like, what if we lose each other? Now I can't get a hold of them.
I not only get that, but I get of, because I'm a very private person. I'm like, I don't want them looking through my phone. And there's nothing there to hide. It's just like,
You're like, here, hold my phone real quick. I'm about to do this. You're like clearing your search history. And they're like, what are you doing? Like, I was, texting my family.
yeah, right. And it's like, oh my God, one day, it wasn't that long ago, I was saying to my youngest daughter, I was like, some days I just want to drive down the road, throw my iPad, my phone, and my laptop out the window and keep driving. And I am a techie from way back. Even when I
Yeah.
was young, like I'm Gen X that built a lot of this shit. And I took every programming language, and I had a computer when nobody else did and stuff like that. But she goes, Dad, who you kidding? You're as addicted as anybody. I'm like, yes, but I do remember a time when I didn't have all this stuff and it was a lot better. Like, I think about it. What I do the first thing in the morning. It used to be, I don't smoke anymore. It used to be have a cigarette, go to the bathroom. Cigarette always took priority. Now
You have
it's
the
like,
cigarette so you could go to the bathroom.
yeah, now it's the phone. The phone, that's the first thing. That's how we got this interview, by the way, because
Really?
Annie Facebook messaged me, I think it was like 6 a.m. this morning, about doing this interview. And
Yeah. Well, we were supposed to do it, I think, earlier today.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the,
yeah.
the way she sent it to me, I thought it was tomorrow. And then at around 11, she was like, hey, bud, how was the interview? And I was like, so I'm glad we were able to talk. But
Yeah,
yeah,
right. But that was a perfect example of that. The first thing I saw when I woke up this morning was her Facebook message asking me to do an interview. And that's why everybody's so stressed out all the time and anxiety. I mean, come
you're
on.
like, what if I miss
Like,
this next thing? I have to look at it all the time. I could
oh,
have,
oh my
yeah.
God. I went to see the Megadeth movie for the new album, and I was like, I was in that movie theater for 2 hours, like, fuck, I want to look at my phone. Maybe I need something. That's it's like you start getting like weird when you gotta do things and you don't, and you're not using your phone, or you don't have your phone. And I think back to a time when I didn't give a shit. Like, I would sometimes take off for like 3 months, and I'd tell people, okay, I'll see you when I get back. And there's no way to reach me and no way to me to reach anybody. And that was healthy. That was how I recharged. That's how I avoided all the darkness of my life. It's like when things start getting dark, that was my therapy, to just disappear, recharge, motivate myself, get back in a positive state, and then come back. So anyway, you got a lot more coming out. Everybody's got to check everything you got. You have badass music, and
Thank you.
basically, I think that what's greatest about you is you share your own personal things to help others through music. And I think that's the key to a true artist. A true artist is able to do that. It's able to dig deep and bring out, like you were saying, you're going to have a hard time performing that song. But I think
Yes,
that's why the song is so good. It's because
I
it's so
really
real,
appreciate that. Yeah,
you know?
I definitely do it to connect with others. When I was growing up, I feel like a lot of the time, I don't know about you, but the radio raised me in a way, you know?
Well, me, metal raised me because
Yeah.
the music I listened to wasn't allowed to be on the radio. Like music nowadays that's on the radio. I'm like, that's weird. You know,
Yeah.
you didn't hear Slayer or Metallica on the radio. Like we had this attitude when we were teenagers. If it's on the radio, we don't like it. Like as soon as a band made the radio, it's like,
Yeah.
when I was at Metallica's first show ever, and I'm here to tell you, I am one of those people of the original like 25 that were at their first show or whatever it was
Yeah.
that when the Black Album came out, we were like, fucking poser sellouts. I mean, there's
I was lucky to have 92.3 and 107.5 in Vegas though. Those were the channels that introduced me to at least the beginning part of finding the genre of music that I love to play today,
Now, see, for me, I'm originally from Jersey. So we had
Oh, nice.
WSOU, which was Seton Hall University, and that was like the original station that actually played underground metal and punk music.
Yeah.
And then when I moved out to LA, you had KNAC, who just celebrated a big anniversary recently. Again, it wasn't your typical radio station. So it was like it wasn't KLOS. KLOS played rock, but they didn't play that, but I love seeing today, though, that metal has gone to the masses because to me, it's the best therapy there is. People don't really understand metal, what we as metalheads feel and what it does for us. And, I think it makes it a better world. I think if we want to solve all the world's problems, we need to have one huge metal festival that everybody in the world is required to attend.
Definitely metal with the sprinkle of some ballads here and there. You know what I'm saying? Every good metal band deserves a great ballad.
Of course, and that's how you know they actually can sing too. Yeah, there's so many like artists that have done ballads. I'm like, wow, they really can sing, and that's why I have the argument now. But like, people don't get it. The screamers, they know how to sing. They choose to sing like that.
Oh, yeah.
And very well. I think people don't realize it's really hard to sing that way. I sang thrash metal, and I didn't know how to do it technique wise, and I was burning out my throat every time, and it definitely is a talent. And I think people should realize that. And you definitely have the talent. I also love the name of your band, the Nocturnal Affair. It just sounds pretty cool.
Thank you.
I don't normally talk about band names, but it does sound pretty cool. And Deep says it all. And I can't wait you got 6 video premieres being launched this year. Can't wait. And
thank you.
Nobody here listening is allowed to listen to my show anymore unless they watch all 6 of those videos.
Appreciate that.
Thank you for giving us great music and bearing your soul to give it to us. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Well, thank you for having me, man. Hope to talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.